I like what you did there.
Welcome back to the SOAR podcast, the school podcast. We go by many names here, but yeah, on every Saturday at 11 Mountain Time, and then you can always find the videos and audios the following Monday, wherever you like to consume your media. But yeah, that was a sick intro.
I know. I like what he did there.
LT, I like what you're doing.
He's creating art.
He's just creating art. This guy next to me, Wes, he's no stranger to creating art or to being on this podcast. This is I thought you had been on once before, but you've been on twice before, huh?
Yeah, this will be my third, I think.
Once with Don and me and Hawk
when we were on his War.
The War podcast. That was in our old apartment building, and then you've done it up here once too, huh?
Yeah, I think I had 8 months at that time.
Yeah, that's pretty special. Wes just got 2 years sober. Halloween, October 31st.
Yep.
That's awesome. Talk about that. How'd you do it? How have you made it 2 years sober?
I mean, it's been hard for sure. I've had my trials, definitely, but just finding a program that worked for me, which is SOAR. I mean, it's, and the people that I choose to be around and hang out with,
which is us,
Dustin and you and LT, everybody.
For those
just
of you
the group as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, they say it takes a village.
It really does.
And it really does.
For those of you that don't know, Wes is one of our main life coaches here at SOAR and one of our good buddies too. I mean, yeah, like Wes is like my best friend up here, along with Dustin. Right. Like all my friends are just right here in this room.
That's the cool thing about this program.
Yeah,
I've created these lifelong friends that I get to just hang out with and be in recovery with.
Yeah. It's like what we were talking about. You get up on that mic when you're talking. Thank you, Wes.
Yeah, excuse.
Check.
No, that's the thing we were talking about last night at dinner is how awesome it is to just be associated with a group of friends that I can be completely honest with. There's nothing. I mean, you guys know how crazy I am.
I can relate.
Crazy all of us are.
Yeah. So it's been good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a family you can talk freely with, and people understand,
Yeah.
So it's like normal people. I don't just,
Well, it's real conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not asking you about the weather.
No, it's how's your spiritual condition doing today?
Yeah.
What resentments are you working on today?
Do you have fear today? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So in your 2 years, like you talked about this morning, it's been a hard 2 years. Don't you think you just have to get through like to get sober, like you have to get first, like you got to get through like every season.
Yeah.
The seasons are kind of hard. You watch the ebb and flow of, like even in the recovery industry, like, it seems like the summers are a little slower. People aren't really trying to get sober, but then the winters, people get like every season, you got to get through your birthday. You got to get through
Christmas, holidays, all of it. Yeah.
How have you dealt with all that?
Well, so for me, it's, I had to learn how to do everything I used to like doing just without substances.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, snowboarding during the winter, that was just a party all the time. We'd go up to the mountain, we'd get drunk, we'd smoke weed, and so after getting sober, I was afraid like those things weren't going to appeal to me anymore.
Right.
Like how am I going to do this? How's it going to be fun without substances?
Right.
But just through doing it and creating those new memories, like we talk about, those experiences, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, and I've gotten back to doing the things that I love to do. Sober.
Yeah. I'm not there yet.
I was gonna say that you're still working on that.
Yeah, I don't really enjoy a whole lot. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just.
Well, it's like we talked about in group the other day. We get linked to certain activities or states of mind or seasons or places, situations, things through our substances and through that like habit loop system, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, Dustin the other day was talking about how, like say he has to, watch his kids for a day or something. Well, 6 years ago, he used to get through that whole day of, changing diapers and the crying and watching Finding Nemo 7 times by popping a couple pills in the back of the throat. Right. And that just made it easier and like, okay, I can handle this. I can be a good dad.
Right.
I feel comfortable in my own skin.
But now it's linked to it every time he has to watch his kids.
Right. So it's like that.
It's a habit.
Yeah, that pops in your mind, and your response is different today, where obviously you don't go and do that, but it's still linked to that. And it's the same with snowboarding or fishing or camping, right? Watching football.
It is. It's like just getting going, like I just barely ran home before this after our group and did all my leaves, went hard in my yard for like an hour, and I was dreading it, dude. It's been eating me up. I've been being a cow.
Right, not a buffalo.
Running away from it. But, I would go, usually my life, I would go and I would smoke weed out back before I had to do something like that. Always like yard work, I'm going to smoke weed. You know what I'm saying? So now, like even now when I go do yard work, I'm like, how do I even do this?
Right.
Right? That's my first thought. But then once I start one foot in front of the other and I start just putting pressure on it, then I'm into the experience and I'm just hustling around and a sense of accomplishment comes in.
Then you can reflect afterwards and realize how much stuff you got done. And
I don't know. That's been the hardest thing with recovery. It's good to hear that I see you guys enjoying your life. I do, I enjoy my life too. Don't get me twisted. I'm happy as can be. I don't know if leisure's for me is linked to, I should be doing something more productive than this.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a good mentality either because.
Well, you got to find that balance because obviously too much leisure and pleasure is a bad thing. That's what got us into substance abuse in the first place. And becoming addicts, just hitting that reward button that's all that we can, as much as we can. But then, in sobriety, you have to learn to enjoy your time. But it's like you have built up such an awareness of productivity and being the best person you can be that if you just relax for a second, you're like, God, what? I should be working on a book. Like I should be doing this,
And that's not good because it's really selfishness too.
Yeah.
Like act like I've done that like around with my family. It's like, dude, put the computer away.
Right, just be present.
You're using this as an excuse to just escape away from like facing some monotony, or whatever. I don't know, man.
And that's okay. I remember we went to the pool with you this summer. We were all sitting there in the
having
sun,
a great time.
And then you were twisted up. You're like, and then you start talking like, are we meant to have pleasure and leisure in this life? And I'm like, what do you mean? Of course. Like it's a Saturday. We're hanging out at the pool with your family.
No, we were at the country club.
Yeah, the country club.
I felt guilty about that. I was like, why do we deserve to be at the country club?
Right. There's kids in Africa that don't get to go to the country club.
We shouldn't be having fun.
Yeah.
And so Hawk took off, and then he decided to go hard on a jog, and then he calls us an hour later. He's like, I needed that. Like, I'm in such a better headspace. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
But it's good that you can do that, though.
It is good that I can do that, but it still goes back to me being being selfish because I just want to go isolate and work. Stay there with your kid, Stay there with your kids. And stop being an asshole. There's all those things that I'm working on. I didn't mean to turn this over to me.
No, of course, it's about all of us.
But it's interesting, how, you see people. I've even seen, I look at like you, Frank. When how hard you've worked on recovery, and I feel like even though you haven't been in recovery as long as me, you're further along in some aspects of recovery. So it's funny how people, I remember I helped a couple dudes get off heroin early when I was still struggling with bad cravings. And I watched some people get off heroin or opiates and they were just like at peace. And it's like, dude, I'm still thinking about pills.
Yeah.
But they're done. I don't know if it's just the way people think but it's interesting how recovery is. You know what I mean?
We all kind of recover at our own pace, I think.
Yeah.
Like me personally, I know where I'm at in my recovery, and I know there's situations that I have to avoid in order to stay safe and sober.
Yeah.
And so I just know I'm not there yet. I got to keep myself around the right people and just keep doing the right thing.
Right.
That awareness is awesome though, because that. Whereas I feel like that's a better place to be in than feeling like you've got it and you're all confident and this and that. You're like, oh, I can go like to my friend's birthday party at the bar, and then all of a sudden you're drunk and like, what happened?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be good.
Whereas, like, I mean, I've noticed that it's like all of us, we just have different personalities and we're good at different things. But like, I've seen that even just with Wes, where it's like, I can maybe be in a little bit of a higher risk situation and feel confident about staying sober. But then there's other things like, I don't know, with diligence to like, say like a nutrition or meal plan, or even diligence to training that Wes like has got me beat, where it's like, oh, I got a lot to learn from him, like in regards to that. So it's like, we all are like strong in different areas.
We have our strengths for sure.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I've been thinking about awareness lately, and I kind of touched on it this morning, but I swear it kind of, the further you get along, and especially with everything we talk about being meek and like lowly and trying to maintain your spiritual condition, it's just like me down there. I'm getting mad at Autumn because the kid or whatever. And so, but that drives that spiritual condition down, Bodie, when I just got home and I was in this big hurry, he had set up his rod, and I'm like, dude, what? I was just pissed off at him because I'm basically going back because I'm in a hurry, and I'm like,
it's interfering with your plan for how you want the day to go.
Exactly. I'm in a hurry. I want to do the yard. I don't want to have to do this stuff right now. Like, but automatically it drives that spiritual feeling down when I start acting like that.
You just want control.
It's almost like just staying connected, and then. But now, like this is I think my next phase of my spiritual condition is like I'm kind of having a breakthrough of that. So now I'm aware, like where like 3 months ago I wouldn't even think twice. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm like really. So today, after I kind of got on him, I in my head I was like, dude, just come on. And then I just had a little prayer in my head, and then I went back to being went over and helped him and was patient and said, all right, I can, you know what I'm saying? But it's interesting how that's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Because isn't that the way we talk about staying sober, like that growth? Because if I'm not upset and getting mad, it's like we talked this morning with the little maybe worrying about the business and stuff. If we can, it's just that fear. I'm basically saying, dude, I'm not in control. I'm staying sober. I don't need Bodie screwed up my plans right here for a second.
Right.
Like, 3 minutes I had to help him, or whatever. Like, just keep the spirit. You know what I'm saying?
High.
It's cool. It's a cool game.
Yeah.
To kind of play with yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I look back at like last time I went to rehab, I was feeling good, and like I was in that setting, 30-day inpatient, and I was like, they'd have the routine for you. I'd wake up, eat breakfast, I'd pray, I'd do all this, I'd go to groups. And then I remember when I got out of rehab, I went to Orange County to deal with a bunch of things and go get my truck and go do this and that. And like I immediately got so stressed out with just dealing with like a plan for the day. Because I remember I was going to like meet my brother for lunch, but then he texted me and couldn't do it at that time. And I had to run and pick this thing up. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. How do I stay sober through this? Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, looking back on that, I'm so much more easily able to handle the things that life throws at me. But there's still little things where it's like, I want things to go a certain way, or I have a plan, and like it gets messed up for the day, and it'll throw me off a bit. But it's not like this catastrophe where like, my life's over. I don't know how to stay sober. I don't know how to deal with this. Right.
Yeah.
I like going back to the whole prayer, like, when you're struggling like that, and we talk about prayer all the time. And, and so recently I've had some amazing prayers. On my way to work in the morning, I try to say a prayer every day. And it's usually like gratitude based, what I'm grateful for. But today what I've noticed is like the gratitude. I mean, it's a strong emotion that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And like I get kind of choked up talking about it right now.
That's when you send out those texts.
Oh man. And it's just this overwhelming feeling of just gratefulness and where I'm at and how happy I am. It's just, it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and having like a series, me and you brought up an experience the other day about how you had this like cool prayer, like where it's like serious intention. I walked out my door the other day, and in my house, and I was getting irritated and frustrated, and I had some my brain wasn't connected. I could feel it going that way, and I remember before I left the house, I thought I'm going to say a prayer, but then I got in my car and I forgot to say a prayer, and I started driving, and I drove like 5 minutes down the road, and I was like, "Dad, I forgot to say that prayer," and I just had this feeling, go back to your house and say a prayer. So I just turned my car around, drove back, went up into my room, got down on my knees, and had this badass prayer. And like I walked back out of the house, dude, and I was back. I was straightened out.
Yeah.
I don't know, like real intention with prayer, dude, is pretty wild. That I've been doing that.
Yeah.
How much that's helped me.
Well, there's a difference between like a little prayer you might say where it's like, oh, help me do better today. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And then sitting down with intention and like the honesty and willingness to actually like reach out and like say something that's meaningful, I think is cool. And that's like what you're doing in the mornings where you're like actually feeling these feelings of gratitude.
There's just a lot more intention behind them, you know, like when I first started doing the prayer thing, it just seemed so generic every morning. You know, I'm just like practicing this prayer thing, and I'm always grateful for the same things and always praying for the same things. And now, like lately, I've been able to just take a look inward, and it's patience.
Yeah.
It's been my big thing lately. Like I'm praying for patience and just the courage to just keep doing the right thing and to just let go of control of what I don't have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so, they've been powerful for me.
This thing Brad said up here, I think is, oh yeah, I'm Frank. This is Wes. And this is Dustin Hawk, our fearless leader.
No,
but he said, like, how often do you notice that these stressful things, like in hindsight, aren't a big deal? And then he said he notices every day that the things yesterday that are huge deal aren't really anything at all. And I know that you go through that a lot. Something that might be the end of the world, the next day you're like, don't even remember.
Yeah. Well, it's like this going and doing my leaves.
Yeah.
I've been stressed out about that all week, and I just went and attacked it for an hour, and it was beautiful. It was easy.
I think we just build these scenarios out in our heads.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And make things a way bigger issue than they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's with everything. Work. Like remember when we were putting this place together, I was like, we're never going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
You know,
look at us now.
Yeah. It just keeps going. But everything, like, with my family, with my kids, I think anything that comes up, I can blow out of proportion and act like this is so hard. This is such a big deal. And then just like he mentioned, going back, it's not. Right. After I just attack it and be a buffalo and just, you know, when I say attack it, like I think it's important to not be in a hurry. Like when we have to get things done.
Yeah.
Like just one foot in front of the other and stay spiritual and let your higher power help you get things done.
Right.
I don't know.
Because you can still be productive and get things done without letting it stress you out and like you turning into this like stress ball and this anxious person that like you get snippy with everyone around you. You know?
Well, I used to do that with my wife, and like I wanted everybody to know how busy I was, and that still raises up.
Yeah.
So busy, honey.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so busy. Like I can't do this. Like, you know what I mean? And that's just basically self-pity, and then which is a huge form of selfishness.
Yeah. I mean, I bet you see that at work too, the refineries where it's like, you know, you can be busy, but still like get things done and be cool. And you see other people that are just losing their minds.
Oh yeah. All the time. You see it all the time.
I've learned a lot from you watching you work, and I don't know if it's just that Cali lifestyle you're putting off or what, but like I'll get real stressed, and Frank's just
cool over
we'll
here.
Be all right. We'll just do this and this and this, and it'll get done. You know what I mean? I've noticed you're really good with that, with like business, you know.
Well, it's like that thing you taught me where it's just like put a little bit of pressure on it, you know.
I'm glad you learned that and I didn't learn it.
You taught me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I used to let things build up to like, you know, such big problems in my head, you know, where it's like I have to get this all done right now or else like nothing's going to be perfect. And if I just try a little bit every day, then it's like going to be fine, you know.
Yeah. Going back to the prayer thing, bring it back there. This is something that's been going on with my prayers, and I wanted to bring up, but like, I'm actually in the, like, listening for my higher power to tell me what to pray for. Mm-hmm. You guys done that? Mm-hmm. Try that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like let your higher power tell you what to pray for.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a different experience. Like listen for the words.
Yeah.
And then it seems like your prayers become aligned with what, I might pray, do you want to be a millionaire?
Right.
No, that ain't what my higher power's pitching.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
I had one like that just this week. It was a couple days ago, and it was a prayer. I almost texted you about it. It like kind of scared me because I was like giving my will up, and I was like praying to my higher power. I was like on the knees at the foot of my bed, and I was like, just help me do what you want me to do today. And it's like, help me, like, live in your will, like, help me do what you want me to do, act how you want me to act, and like have me be okay with it. And then I started getting scared. I was like, wait, but then like it might not be what I want. But it's like, help me be
right.
okay with that, right? Like help me confront situations that
it's a selfless prayer though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me be like you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I'll ask for specific things. I'll be like, help me be patient today. Help me be loving today. But I was like, help me be what you want me to be today and just be okay with it. Right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And then tying prayer in with exercise.
Yeah.
Is a big deal.
Oh man.
Like the
spirit really comes to you.
Especially like, dude, like we did that shoot last Sunday, with LT's drone and an awareness video we're going to put out. But I was jogging and I was listening. I found this song by Shawn Mendes. It's called Wonder. If anyone's heard it, you just give it a try. It's just, I don't know. It hit me, but I was on repeat with this song, and I was on this jog, and I had this drone following me, and we were in this just scenery, like and I was just praying, and dude, like when that song coupled with the exercise, coupled with me talking to my higher power, dude, like I got finished with that thing, and I felt like I was like tears in my eyes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You have that song we can play, LT? I'm just kidding. I don't know, dude. I mean, there's something to be said. We talk about it a lot, but the same thing, the intention, like with training, you go in that gym, go hard, and then maybe you walk outside and have a prayer with your endorphins lifted.
Yeah.
That's a pretty sick practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes something else entirely, and you can actually feel it
just
on
a
a
lot of
level.
thanks.
I mean, the exercise puts it's like it puts you on a good platform to communicate with God.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I always think about this too. Like, there's ways to get high. Obviously we know those through the world, like popping pills, drugs, alcohol. Way. But then like I look at God's highs, like, dude, here, go run in scenery and listen to Shawn Mendes.
Yeah.
Climb on top of a mountain.
Got to work for it a little bit.
Climb on top of a mountain, and then, so I still get high every day. I got high this morning. That's
why we do it.
I was really high during that meeting. After that, we trained this for you guys listening. We trained this morning as our group, 7:30. Fairly early and then we went right into our classroom and everybody and just had an amazing little processing group. And I helped. Like I was just high. All of us were. I mean, we were all just talking.
Everybody was lifted up.
Everyone gets honest and real, and actually talks about what's going on instead of checking in. Oh, I'm good today.
Yeah.
Next.
No, it was sick. Like, and then even last night, just our little family going to that. Just our
dinner.
SOAR family went to dinner.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
You have a picture you can show them, LT?
Did we take a picture?
I'm just kidding.
LT did take a picture.
It was a good night.
You can find it.
I haven't laughed like that in a minute.
Yeah, it's fun watching.
Anyway, but
I like how, Wes, you were talking about how you've been feeling like feelings of real gratitude in the mornings. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you get choked up. It's like since my daughter's been born, I've been feeling that. And it's like throughout these 2.5 years I've been sober, I've been grateful because I'm so grateful I'm sober. I met Dustin. I met this family. We're doing all this. But then since she's been born, I'm like feeling it on a different level too.
Right.
Talk about that.
I'm just so grateful like that I get to be a dad and I get to be in her life and she's in my life, and it's just like, being grateful for the little moments that we have where it's like, cause she's like so small. She's 3 weeks old. She turned 3 weeks yesterday where she just lays on my chest. But then it's going to be a journey in a couple months, and like, 6, 9 months old, she starts walking or
Yeah.
crawling around, and it's like,
It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, there's that like picture last
yeah, this
night.
was us last night.
Little Mexican restaurant.
Mi Puebla, shout out.
Yeah.
Love it.
Right down here in Ogden.
The guy that owns it is actually like, one of the leaders in his ward in the church.
Oh yeah, I think he's a bishop, isn't he?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Hispanic speaking LDS church. I think that's cool.
After running, there we go. Those were great. I had a spot out and back, and there you go. So that's what we're talking about, Brad.
Yeah.
The same deal. The exercise coupled with, I think the good formula is the exercise and scenery with some good music. That's just like that's a good way to get high.
Oh yeah.
100% of the time, I'm feeling bad in my head, depressed before, and don't want to go for a jog. Anyone out there that's struggling with depression, a great prescription is go for a jog in scenery while listening to beautiful music. Talk to your higher power during the whole time, and then send out some healthy text messages and maybe do some reading after that in scenery.
Yeah.
100% of the time that changes your thoughts to positive ones.
Definitely.
Resentments, anything that you're dealing with, like, and then I can go back being happy with my kids or whatever. I mean, not happy, but it can change your thoughts,
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah, they're super grateful for what we're doing. The gym's a big piece.
Yeah.
What has a gym done for you, Wes?
Where do I start? It's just given me such an outlet to compete with negative thoughts and emotions, and it's given me confidence. It's given me you guys,
We were talking last night about how the barbell is like a mentor.
Yeah, it's a life coach.
We were talking about this sensei that
humbles you.
I have. He's like, I haven't done it recently in the past few months, but I used to do Shinkendo twice a week, and my sensei, he taught me these martial arts like Hapkido, Aikido, Shinkendo. But he was like, Wes is like, wasn't he more like also like a mentor in addition to that? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, just like the barbell is. Like,
that lifestyle, it really does coach you. I mean,
you're not just learning the art.
Yeah. I mean,
you're learning the art of weightlifting and Olympic lifting and powerlifting, but you're also just learning about life.
Yeah. If you're involved with the barbell, you're going to be a more disciplined person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a byproduct of it.
Yeah.
Because you have to be.
I agree.
You got to be coaching yourself all the time, and chances are, if you are on the barbell, you're gonna have goals, and so you're gonna tailor your life to meet those goals.
Right.
Which, I mean, that's kind of what most of my recovery is based on.
Right.
Is that lifestyle? I found if I'm involved in this lifestyle and in training, everything else just kind of falls in line with me.
Right. So. Yeah, it just gives you goals to focus on. Yeah, I love it too, man.
So fun.
That learning how to use it and maneuver it properly and efficiently. Struggling, and like for me, I have just a testimony of just the same thing of going in and using it when I'm having a bad day. The other thing that it teaches is how you get stronger is the stress and adaptation cycle, which we talked about. Maybe we should bring it up.
Yeah,
for anyone.
Linear progression.
But yeah, so how you get stronger is simple. You add stress, so you add 155 pounds to the barbell. You perform 3 or 4 sets of 5, right? You adapt to that stress, and then you add more stress the next, 2 days later, 160 or whatever. Then you adapt to that stress, add more stress, 170. So you sit there and you step into more stress and more stress and more stress, and you develop your central nervous system. And basically you develop your ability to handle pain. So if you watch a lot of these kids, like young kids, like in our program, or people that have never been, or addicts who've never been in a relationship with physical fitness or anything, their central nervous system is really undeveloped.
They have that low pain tolerance.
Yeah, they're really low. They get uncomfortable. It scares them a little bit. they don't really like it, but over time they learn to handle that stress and stick with that stress and get comfortable in that stress. Then they adapt to it and they add more. Well, it's sick how that's relationship. That's the same deal when we get sober.
Awesome.
Everything we were talking about before was,
well, drugs help you escape from stress. That's what it's a solution to your problem. I was talking with Spence about it today on the drive over to breakfast, where he'd look back and we were talking about that sense of ease and comfort that alcohol gives you. And Bill talks about it in Bill's story, chapter 1 in AA, how it's you drink and then felt like life is going to be all right again. Right.
Right.
And so it's that solution for us. We might get all stressed out, but as soon as Spence, took a pull of his handle of vodka, he's like, oh, I feel like a new man. Maybe
shoulder drop.
Maybe I can turn this thing around. Maybe I can do better at work. And then it's all falls apart again once you don't have it. And so it's you remove the substances and it's how do you handle this stress,
Yeah. Yeah. And then exactly. And so then, he comes into a program like this, or whoever comes into a program like this, and we're asking them to step inside stress.
Yeah.
Here, dude, I'm going to give you an opportunity to feel stress through this training this way. And so, and they're uncomfortable in it, but then over 90 days, even let's just say 90-day period of our 90-day program, people have learned to deal with that stress. And then how that translates over into life, we don't even have to explain.
I do it in all sorts of different areas in my life too. I was talking about in group the other day with showers. So it's at my apartment, most people, you turn on the shower, it takes a little bit to get hot. Mine takes a while. It's usually 90 seconds to 2 minutes to get even just warm. But as soon as I turn on the shower, I step in it. And on a day like today, it's 40 degrees outside. It's so cold, dude. And I'm just sitting there and for 2 minutes, just in the cold, but I do it because it's stressful. And that's why I do it on purpose. I literally do that every day. Every time I take a shower, the first 90 seconds to 2 minutes are freezing cold. And then it will finally warm up and I'll wash myself.
And there's a great reward.
And there's going to just orchestrating stress.
Yeah.
In the shower.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Turning
all aspects of
using these principles, just the progression and the stress and adaptation. I do that with something simple like taking a shower.
Yeah, right.
Instead of letting it warm up and being all cozy with my feet on the rug, I got to get in and attack it. And some days it's easier than others. Some days I'm I'm ready for this. And some days I'm cold and tired. I'm I don't want to do this. And I have to do it anyways. Yeah. I get in there and force myself to be in the cold. It's like a polar plunge,
Yeah. It's important to make yourself feel uncomfortable, the orchestrating stress. Especially for these young kids, man. I'm really trying to teach these young kids that piece, because a lot of these young kids haven't experienced a little bit of discomfort.
Yeah.
We give them that through the gym, but really helping them to make known that dude, life's the biggest competition. I had a kid just he's a basketball player and he's been working hard. Sean's Chance.
Yeah.
And he just hit 315 in the back squat for a triple the other day. Big change. He's put on 30 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
Young ass kid, 17-year-old kid, senior year in high school. And awesome. Sports come and go. Sports are going to, I know that more than anyone. Sports are going to come and go, but the competition that takes place in life is always going to be there. And so now whatever happens in Chance's life, this senior season, he worked his butt off to whatever happens, but he's always going to know that he did that process of training and got that type of strength and put on 30 pounds. And he's going to have that as a tool for the rest of his life as a coping skill. I truly believe that for these kids, dude, you teach a kid that and he caught that reward of putting on 30 pounds. You're telling me he's not going to be better prepared in life?
You think he's not walking around with confidence now?
No, he's a completely different kid.
Yeah.
And that's what I really hope to give a lot of these young kids. I'm watching it right now with young kid in our program right now.
Yeah.
He's bought in, been with us for coming up off and on for almost a year, but I'm watching it. I'm watching him get bit by that. It's kind of start understanding.
He got his own weightlifting shoes.
Yeah.
He goes to the gym when he's not here. He takes his buddies. It's cool to see.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful thing.
It's cool to see these, in our adult program, you brought it up, but just it's the same thing, the same type of transformation. Someone come in and we help them to learn a new way of life, and it just clicks on, and all of a sudden they become just a part of our little family.
They can form it into their own thing,
right?
Like use their own coping mechanisms and hobbies that work for them, but this is the basis of it, and then they teach that to other people. It's so cool.
Yeah,
watching people that used to struggle that come in here, gain confidence, gain a competency, and then now they can help other people. Right?
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Some people come in and they don't get they're shocked a little bit by the stress.
Yeah,
that we're putting on, allowing people to hop inside, I guess, is the LT brought it up this morning, the sweat lodge. His first week was the sweat lodge, and we went and do for you guys listening, we do a sweat lodge, where a Native American sweat lodge, where it's like 4 hours and we're sweating and like a little spiritual journey, but you get uncomfortable.
It's pitch black.
It's pitch black, and you got to face some things, and totally safe, but just it's a beautiful. We all do it, and everyone who's done it, they come out on the other side happy, but it does put stress. Then
it's uncomfortable.
He talked about this morning our experiences, like our jogging and our hikes, or we went swimming a bunch this last summer up at the dam. When I say swimming, not just playful swimming, we had a workout that involved swimming with burpees on the beach and swimming out to a buoy, and then team workouts. And then we had a group and scenery, but a lot of people are like, look at that. And, but then, it's a different thing. And then they do that, and our hikes, and
they look back on it though, and they're like, wow, that was so cool. Because even LT was talking about we have a sweat lodge, and he was pissed about it. Then he went, then he was like, okay, that was all right. And then the next weekend, it was like talking about the swimming experience. He's like, this is not what I want to do. And then now looking back on it, a couple months in reflection, he's like, that was so cool, Well,
I like the swimming one, especially because swimming's one thing, but like swimming when you're tired is a whole nother thing. And especially like for the people who maybe don't swim a lot.
Yeah.
Like I know for me personally, like I felt extremely accomplished after that. I threw myself into that stressful environment. I'm choking on lake water, doing burpees on the side.
Yeah.
Like that was a good experience for us.
That was fun. And then we had our group, after we did that experience together, we had our group up in the beautiful mountains and just scenery like that. Yeah. And the conversations that unfolded are pretty incredible. Yeah. Then we do our hikes, a lot of newcomers that come on our hikes. Numerous of people told me that they hated me on those hikes. Yeah. I can't tell it, probably upwards of 15 to 20 people that I've taken on hikes. Yeah. I've been mother effing me the whole time, and telling me they're going to sue me. And
you just don't know what kind of journey we're in for every time we go on one.
But then, but then always later in the day, they call me, hey, man, wanted to apologize.
That was great.
That was so fun. Yeah. Hey, can you send me the pictures?
Right.
You send me the pictures you took? I don't know. But
that's how it goes.
But I don't know how else to get sober.
Right.
There's so many different, obviously, our philosophy in this program is a spiritual awakening with those steps. And then, for me, when I was analyzing how to get off pills, and stop, I couldn't stop picking up, how you're driving, and it's like, do I give my cards to my wife? I've done everything. I deleted this dude's number, and then I'm driving. Oh no.
Yeah. Getting closer.
Oh no. Closer. I remember his number. I'll figure out how to get some money. And then I'm meeting him at a Chevron to pick up pills. Right. And then, so I was this early recovery, and I'm thinking, how do you stop? How do I stop this?
Right.
It's a scary feeling. It's a scary feeling when you can't stop. Yeah. And I don't know if a lot of people know, like my wife didn't understand. My parents, like, why don't you just stop? Yeah. Like, no, I gave you my cards.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying not to do this. Like
that's the thing about addiction is like a lot of people look at it and be like, well, this person just wants to keep using. And with some of the population, that's true. And those people aren't really going to get sober. The people that like, might be trying to get sober for their family or whatever. But so many of us, we want to get sober and we try as hard as we can. And we're like using against our own will. And that's the issue right there. That's what addiction is.
Yeah.
It's like, people talk about your drug of choice. It's like your drug of no choice. Like I don't have a choice in whether or not I'm going to pick up. I gave you my car keys, my cards. I deleted all these numbers. And all of a sudden, like, oh, here I am, like somehow finding a way to get high again.
Well, you stop doing the drugs start doing you. Like
exactly, dude.
Yeah.
Like it.
That is crazy. People, the craving. For the longest time, I remember thinking if I could write or teach people how to beat a craving. That's like a lot of my, even in that manual. I mean, if you notice the manual or anything, it's all like ways to not like compete with your poor mindsets. That's kind of always been my theme.
Right.
Because I just like those cravings are crazy. I remember just like being handicapped for the entire day. Can't do anything. Yeah. All I want to do is go pick up pills, It's so thankful. I mean, just even talking about it and that reflecting on how that is
well, it's so strong. Dark. And you get time away from it and it gets easier. But like people have to recognize how powerful that reward system still is. Mm-hmm. So I remember I was looking at this study where these neuroscientists like had a bunch of addicts, specifically cocaine addicts, and they were doing brain scans on them. And they showed like the person that was like actively addicted to cocaine, and they showed them a picture of people doing blow, and like their brain lights up, right? And then they had like a non-addict show a picture of it. It's not even close to the same. Like nothing really happens in the brain because they don't have that relationship with it. Mm-hmm. But then they showed someone that was 10 years sober off cocaine, hadn't touched it in 10 years, showed him a picture of it, and it was the same as the active addict. Still lit up exactly the same. And it's like, holy crap, dude. This person's been sober 10 years, and it's like that habit loops. It's like the reward system is still there.
Lights back up.
But their response, like through that 10 years of what they learned, they're able to handle that craving and thought differently now.
Yeah.
So instead of like, it's still just as strong, maybe a little bit diminished, but now they have other tools and pathways of how to cope. It's like, okay, I recognize that feeling. I know that it's there, but that doesn't mean I have to go use.
Wow.
The
response.
It's
a new response.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cue, craving, response, reward.
Yeah. Right.
And that habit loop.
Yeah.
You just got to have the awareness and the tools
picking
to
up your
with it.
Picking up your phone.
Yeah.
Picking up your phone.
Yeah.
Even early, this is another thing we've talked about is like you can be getting a craving and getting ready to use even before like you actually thought about using. I know we talk about that a lot, but like, so for me, like it's like just getting twisted up in my head about someone or something or a place or an institution, like it talks in the book, or, and that happening with about 4 different people or scenarios to where I'm like just mad and resent and fear. Now I'm like
just losing the spirit.
I've lost that spiritual condition. Yeah. So like early on for anybody that is struggling, like recognize that early and then make a call and help someone get you straightened out. Yeah. I've been into that late. Like I think that's a big deal.
It is
responding early, mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. Not minimizing it and like recognizing the problem and then dealing with it, like picking up the phone, going for a jog,
right?
Praying, meditating about it, mm-hmm. finding a way to help someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough, man. You feel so bad for the people. I do. I'm not bad, but people in early recovery when we see them.
Yeah.
Just knowing what they got to go through and what they're going to have to endure through and what they're going to have to be a buffalo through. Mm-hmm. If they can just lean on people who got sobriety and lean on and they could hear us.
Yeah.
Hear just like we hear and just know that like you just got to get through this first part and you're going to be okay. We're going to love you and help you, but like you're still going to have to compete through those shadows,
Well, Well, they got to be willing. I mean, they need to like be willing to put aside everything they think they know about like how to get sober and listen to the people that have the time.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that was a big thing for me because I had tried getting sober more than once, and
Right.
I just kept going back to the same thing. And I remember I met you guys,
Yeah.
and I saw what you guys had, and I was like, I want that.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to listen to what these people have to say, and I'm going to do what they tell me to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Some people won't do that though.
It's hard.
Having the courage to do something even when you don't want to do it.
Well, it's just the humility. You got to have the humility.
Yeah.
To just realize that what you're doing ain't working, and you need to like listen up, basically.
Yeah.
Just shut up and listen.
Shut up and listen and do.
Yeah.
What do you think the next step is like for you in your sobriety or recovery or life, you know? So it's like you've built this strong foundation where you just got 2 years, and it's like.
So one thing sobriety's done for me is it's given me my relationship back.
Yeah.
With Sam.
Yeah.
We have it's kind of a cool story, really. So basically we met, we were both addicts. We loved each other, but we loved drugs more.
Yeah.
And so drugs tore us apart.
Yeah.
We didn't speak for almost 3 years.
Wow.
And I went to treatment. She had been in treatment, and I can't even remember how we reconnected. We ended up reconnecting, and now we've been together for 2 years, sober.
Wow. Wow.
And now she's moving out here.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's awesome.
It's
I'm
just
excited
so
when she
cool.
moves out here.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Dude, you know what
I've been through a lot.
You know what I was thinking of this morning when you were talking? I thought, that's a good question, Frank, about what his plans are. And I thought, God, I mean, you were talking about how you need this place, and about opening a SOAR gym.
Yeah, it's always a possibility. Just keep spreading the word, spreading the message.
Another one, just be the guy. I don't know how that all looks, but
I just can't see myself leaving you guys.
Well, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying just
just one day,
just over there.
Yeah, over there.
Just like you just kind of
right.
I don't know. You know what I mean? But I know you need to be around this.
Yeah, definitely. This is my safe place for sure.
We got our strong ladies peeping their heads in. Other SOAR life coaches over there.
But it's yeah, dude. Your recovery is pretty incredible. I talk about you a lot. I talk about you more than you know. You and Frank.
I feel honored.
Frank's heard because Frank came out to the high school and presented all these high school kids. I don't know, it had to have been over 300, 400 kids he ended up speaking to, but it's pretty cool to be able to tie everything that we're doing here into my teaching out to those kids.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's no better thing for them to hear. I think about the young kids we got, our kids program, and then what we're doing with them and them coaching those kids. Like there's nothing. Well, what a great thing.
It's all linked together too. Whether like you have substance issues or you just fight depression or just everyday life, it's all helpful towards that.
Right.
That's the cool thing about the program.
I was thinking about that when I was out there at the high school with you, and I was like, Hawk's a teacher out here and he teaches health and fit for life. And it's like, well, what does he teach these kids? And like, what kind of, what lesson plans do you get from the state or the school district? They're like, we want you to hit these topics and like, whatever. But it's like, dude, at the end of the day, like the SOAR is like the most important thing you can teach these kids, these principles in this lifestyle.
Exactly.
That is health. That is how you become fit for life, Like
that is the health.
Wow. How do you deal with when things go haywire in your brain? How do you deal with it, right?
Yeah.
How do you find physical health? How do you find spiritual health, right?
That's the best class in the high school.
Yeah. Well, it's been awesome. I mean, and we're all going to be more involved out there because we're doing that. I got that grant, and but it is the thing that's cool is the health book is I just take that health book and it's the same.
Yeah.
It's all in there. You know what I'm saying? It's just written differently than I pitch it, so I can use the same thing.
Yeah. That's cool.
I mean, there's so much I could have once. Yeah.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
Never too
Going
late.
back and finishing school, getting a degree, you know, like doing something you like always wanted to do. Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like in the sober way of life. This is the one I keep in my front pocket. Is like I like I like having things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like feeling accomplished, and I like progress. I know
Yeah.
that if I go back to start taking pills, it's that pause button goes back
Yeah.
on your
You're
life.
just gonna start losing
That's
everything you work
Yeah,
for.
that's a big deal. And when you get
Yeah.
weird in your head, like I'm not
Mhm.
doing that again.
Right.
You know,
hmm
so I don't know.
It's an excellent motivator for me to keep just doing the right thing. Looking at where I was and where I'm at, I can't complain.
Mhm.
Yeah,
As much as I do sometimes. Like
yeah.
life ain't that bad
No.
right now.
No, even when we have bad days.
Yeah.
We just got a donation from Don Coleman.
Oh yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you, Don.
Thank you, Donnie.
Thanks, Daddy Warbucks. Uncle Don. Oh yeah.
Thankful for Don.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don's the other guy.
Don's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's the other guy on our podcast. He's not on today. You guys have
Yeah.
seen him. He's starting to do that work. What we're doing with the homeless,
Yeah.
creating awareness and kind of that component that him and LT are working on. So
Don's the nicest guy.
Yeah.
I remember when I first met Don, he's one of those guys that'll just build you up.
Yeah.
You know, he just makes you feel so good about yourself.
Yeah.
So thank you, Don.
Yeah. Absolutely.
love you,
bro.
buddy. Well, I don't know. You guys got anything else you want to say there, Wes?
No, just
Frank?
grateful for you guys. Grateful for the opportunity to help coach, to just live this lifestyle, and
Just happy to be here.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
Thankful for LT.
Yeah.
Thanks, LT, for organizing all this and all you're doing in here.
Oh,
Big
absolutely.
thanks. You guys all know LT. He's on the podcast as well. There he is.
This
LT.
guy. Yes, sir.
He started that. Not obviously, a lot of your followers on here know he's the recovering addict just behind us. We've kind of blended our nonprofits. He's got doing all our awareness, handling the School of Addiction, our programs awareness, and then he's helping a bunch of people online. He's got his whole online community so people can get recovery whenever. It's pretty special.
Oh, absolutely.
So just trying to help people. So thank you guys for listening.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you soon.